Vian sat on the edge of her bed, staring blankly at the coffee mug in her hands. The dark liquid had long gone cold, but she didn't notice. It was just another day in an endless loop she had come to know too well. Wake up, go to work, come home, and then lie in bed as her thoughts spiraled out of control. Every day bled into the next, and no matter how much time passed, the heaviness in her chest refused to lift. It had been 5 years since she and Taehyung parted ways. 5 long years filled with countless attempts to heal and move on. Therapy, hobbies, journaling, even fleeting moments of hope when she thought she was doing better. But nothing had worked. The memory of him lingered like a stubborn shadow, refusing to let go. Their relationship had been passionate, intense, and all consuming. It had started with shy glances, transforming into a love so fiery it felt like the world around them didn't exist. But with that fire came destruction. Their fights had started small, silly disagreements about schedules or forgotten plans, but they escalated. Words that shouldn't have been said were hurled like weapons, leaving wounds that quite never left. They had tried to fix it so many times, yet every reconciliation only led them back to the same toxic cycle until one day they both knew it was over. For her, it had been like losing a part of herself. Her friend Sana had been relentless about the party. Ryan, I'm serious, you have to come, Sana said over the phone, her voice tinged with a mix of frustration and concern. I don't think it's a good idea, Sana. Ryan replied, her fingers nervously tracing the edge of the mug she was holding. You've been hiding in your apartment for years. One party won't kill you. Ryan sighed. She knew Sana meant well, but the thought of being surrounded by happy, carefree people only made her stomach churn. Still, there was a small voice in the back of her mind that whispered, what if this helps? Fine, I'll come, she said at last, surprising even herself. The party was everything Ryan expected it to be loud, vibrant, and overwhelming. She walked in her heels clicking softly against the polished floor and immediately felt out of place. The room was filled with laughter, music, and the sound of glasses clinking together in toasts. She plastered on a polite smile as Sana rushed over to greet her. You made it, Sana exclaimed, pulling her into a tight hug. Come on, let me introduce you to some people. Ryan nodded, letting Sana guide her through the crowd. She tried to focus on the conversations around her, but her mind felt distant, like she was watching the scene unfold from somewhere far away. Then she saw him. It was like the air had been knocked out of her lungs. Taehyung stood near the bar, a glass of champagne in hand, laughing at something someone had said. He looked effortlessly handsome, dressed in sharp black suit that accentuated his broad shoulders. His hair was styled neatly, his features glowing under the soft light of chandeliers. For a moment, Ryan couldn't breathe. It was like time had stopped, and all she could see was him. Her heart pounded in her chest as memories flooded back in her mind. The way he used to look at her with those warm brown eyes, the sound of his deep, melodic laugh, the way his hand felt against hers. She had dreamed about this moment countless times, imagined what she would say if she ever saw him again. But now, faced with the reality of him standing just a few feet away, she felt paralyzed. Ryan, are you okay? Sana's voice snapped her back to the present. I I need a moment, Ryan stammered before slipping away into a quieter corner of the room. From her vantage point, she watched him. He looked happy, genuinely happy. His smile was brighter than she remembered, his posture relaxed, and the weight that had always seemed to hang over him during their fights was nowhere to be seen. For a moment, Ryan felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was her chance to finally say the things she had never been able to. Maybe they could talk, clear the air, and she could find the closure she had been searching for. Summoning all her courage, she took a step forward. But before she could reach him, a woman appeared at his side. She was beautiful. The woman wore a sleek navy dress that hugged her figure perfectly. Her hair fell in soft waves around her shoulder, and her smile was radiant as she reached for Taehyung's hand. Vian's heart sank as she watched the two of them together. The way the woman leaned into him, the way Taehyung's eyes softened when he looked at her. It was clear that they were close. When Taehyung intertwined his fingers with his, Vian felt a sharp pang in her chest. She turned away quickly, blinking back the tears that threatened to fall. The cool night air hit her face as she stopped into the balcony. She gripped the railing tightly, her knuckles turning white as she tried to steady her breathing. He's moved on. The thought repeated itself in her mind, each time cutting deeper than the last. For 5 years she had been stuck in the same place, unable to let go of the memories they had shared. She had held on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, he was struggling too. That maybe he still thought about her late at night, the way she thought about him. But seeing him now, so happy and carefree, made her realize how wrong she had been. She stayed on the balcony for what felt like hours, lost in her thoughts. At some point, Sana found her. Hey, you've been out here for a while. Are you okay? Ryan forced a smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. Yeah, I just needed some air. Sana frowned, clearly unconvinced. Do you want to leave? I can call a cab for you. No, it's fine. I'll head out on my own, Ryan replied. The ride back home was silent, save for the hum of the car engine. Vine stared out the window, her mind replaying the image of Taehyung and the woman over and over again. Each time, it felt like a fresh wound. When she finally reached her apartment, she collapsed onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. She cried, deep, gut wrenching sobs that echoed in the empty space around her. But amidst the pain, a realization began to take shape. She couldn't keep living like this. The next morning, Vian stood in front of the mirror, her reflection tired but resolute. For 5 years, she had allowed herself to be consumed by a love that no longer existed. She had clung to the hope that Taehyung might one day return, letting the hope that dictate every aspect of her life. But now she knew it was time to let go. It wouldn't be easy, the memories would still haunt her, and the pain wouldn't disappear overnight, but she owed it to herself to try. As she walked out of the door, she made a silent promise to rediscover herself, to find happiness again, and to stop living in the shadows of the past, because she deserved it.